Yeah, Dhamma friends, today also we are going to have the question and answer session, or we can say common interviews or Dhamma discussion. We'll start the session with written questions. So questions available it seems. So I will invite Doctor to present the written questions.
Thank you, Bhante. First question. Dear Bhante, how important are the adhisthānayas or making determinations in meditation practice? For example, before sitting or walking meditation or upon waking in the morning, saying to oneself, may this mind become focused, etc.
The power of determination equally, almost equal to the power of concentration. So once your mind is disciplined and concentrated, it has kind of obedience and listening power. But if you are making the determination or any kind of thing with the undisciplined mind, unconcentrated mind, they are not going to work. So therefore, there is a kind of a utility value of this determination power or mind power, but it is happening only once it is being disciplined. So therefore, if you want to check whether mind is disciplined or not, you can make a simple determination like waking up in the morning. When you are going to at the time of you are going to the bed, you can make a determination, may my mind wake up at that particular same time. So if it is a meditating mind or disciplined mind or concentrated mind, that will work. Otherwise, no. Usually it says to make a determination for a short periods in meditation sittings also, just to check whether mind is concentrated. So therefore determination is a kind of a capacity in the mind, but it is available only for the disciplined mind, not for the others. So therefore very difficult to say yes or no. Even the disciplined mind, some people do away with it. Some people do in order to check it. There are some utility values, but not much important for the meditative life.
Next question. Dear Bhante, the body scan seems to be a powerful tool for me. It made me feel like being a babysitter who monitored the body, feeling thoughts and hindrances sometimes. One time I felt the joy, my teardrops, ringing ears, tension of my forehead and pounding heart. Was it fantasizing? Question mark. Then I told myself that it was not mine, was not me. Was it appropriate solution? Question. After the storm, I continued the body scan again. Please advise, respect.
This is also when we are, as our meditators are concerned, there are two things we can focus upon, materiality and mentality. Whenever the Buddha recommending he start with the materiality, because as the second part of the question goes, to verify whether it's fantasizing or daydreaming or whether it's something realistic. So if you have focused your attention to something material, that can be verifiable. When you are focusing on non-material thing, you don't know whether you are taken for a ride, whether you are in a thinking game or fantasizing or hallucination. So therefore, the credibility is not much when compared with the materiality. That is why for the beginners it says, start to take your body as the object of meditation. When and where there are no other distraction, take the body as the primary object. So when and where it is come and rest on the body, not only to the mind, even to the other, this thing you can verify. Otherwise, sometimes these kind of things are working, at other times it is not working. So therefore, credibility, the reliability is less. Some meditation masters focus on the feelings, some of them are on perception, some of them are volitional activities, and this indicates kind of a combination of all, and scanning through the body, and that is also scanning through happen through the feelings, scanning through happen through the perception, or your bodily activities, volitional activities. So it is a kind of combination. It appears, it is in a way is good to bring the mind inside, but the second question always happens, whether it's a hallucination, whether it's just a thinking, or really am I, had the mind come in at home or not. So that doubt very difficult to clarify, unless otherwise you take something verifiable. That is why the materiality, the body, the breath, you take it, because it is something verifiable. If I had to mention by name, the Goenka system, Goenka Ji, at the beginning he recommended the Anapanasati about something materialistic, and once mind concentrated, directly take into this body scanning. And there is another shadow in Burma. He says, don't worry about the physical part or the feeling part, just be aware of your thoughts. And if you have any kind of acquaintance or familiarity or mastery about the early parts, of course you can directly plug into this one. But if you are weak in the materiality and other parts, may appear like a shortcut, but later the consistency or gradual development will be disturbed, or you have to come back again to the materiality. So if you have that flexibility, no harm. Otherwise, this doubt, there's no way of rectifying or eliminating the doubt, because start with the something immaterial. So the disadvantage is the doubtfulness. Questions?
Anybody wants to ask any questions, please come forward and take this microphone from me, please. No, I will bring it.
During yesterday's question and answer session, you mentioned that during meditation we should try to stop conscious activity as much as possible. But don't you think noticing the breath or noting the breath is also a conscious activity?
So the question is, how is, if we have compared to the early two questions, now we have selected the body as the object of meditation, and when you are focusing the attention to the body, more and more become familiar with the body, you may see intentional and unintentional, volitional and unvolitional, conscious and unconscious activities are taking place. So therefore, the restrainment part of the teaching of the Buddha is applicable only to the volitional part, or the conscious part. So in order to not to make complications, in order to restrain yourself, take care about the all volitional activities and let the life or being to happen, and be a neutral observer or vigilant observer. And why, if it is happening, just see metabolic functions and the being is happening. And if you can observe, well and good. But sometimes, or most of the yogis, it is not very attractive object. So therefore mind is often jump outside, listening, thinking, pain and kind of thing happen. Under such circumstances, in order to keep the attention, in order to keep the vigilance with this passive activity, you have to adverting of the mind, focusing of the mind, noting of the mind, labeling of the mind is a technique. without labeling, without noting, without adverting, if the mind was calm and quiet with that object of being, just being, well and good. Otherwise, consciously you have to direct the attention. It has a limited function at the beginning. Once that is being accustomed, you can do away with noting. You can do away with the labeling. So you have to keep the labeling as a tool to use when and where it is necessary. Not always you have to use, not always you have to do away with it. So you must know strategically when to use and when not to use. So how to be skillful, how to develop the mastery on this is completely trial and error. It's a luck by chance. Very difficult to say, this is the time you have to note, this is time not. You have to do trial and error. And later on you will understand how to use this tool. It is not a must for everyone. And you must not make a determination not to do that also. Do it in an appropriate way, just like a tool in the bag of the carpenter. All the tools are not in use, but he knows when to use and what to use. So likewise, the adverting mind, or vitaka, or labeling, or noting, is such a tool. Whenever the mind becomes disobedient, you use it. It's a conscious action.
This applies to walking meditation also?
Yeah, and even the day-to-day activities. Yeah. Even the day-to-day activities, when you, as well as you wanted to keep one thing at a time and that done well, or one donkey at a time, you note what is you do consciously in day-to-day activities, so that you can cut away others and you can advert the mind. Otherwise, the mind is jumping or very slippery, very wobbling among the objects. So then you have no consistency. So there you adverting the mind in walking also. But this question is basically in sitting, whereby you have disciplined yourself not to do anything. Everything is passive. Breathing happens, all the other thing happens, you observe. But in walking, definitely you are walking, the conscious activity is already there, partially. In the day-to-day activities, everything happened according to the conscious decision. Under all the three circumstances, whenever you wanted to advert the mind, focus the mind, this is the pointer. It's like a forceps. You fix it to that particular point, that capacity of the mind is known as adverting mind, adverting thought or vitaka. That is what we call labeling and noting. Recently, there was one, maybe a Jewish person, Sole Leris. He has written a book on calm and insight meditation. He said the Mahasi Sayadaw, the Burmese Sayadaw, exactly recognized the quality of this applied thoughts, the notice. And therefore, he made meditation more scientific. That is why it crossed the borders and went to the West. Now, very easy to introduce meditation amidst of all the object. Whatever the primary object, you note it, then that only will come forward. Others will be not disturbing because of your adverting power. And that is conscious. Consciously you have to do on the practical basis.
Is it different from Sati Sampajan, or is it the same as Sati Sampajan?
It's a tool towards a Sati. It's a tool you are using. At the beginning, you take one object at a time. So which object you can decide. It's a primary object. In sitting, maybe you are sitting posture, or rising and falling, or in breath and out breath. In walking, maybe your walking posture, or left leg or right leg. In the day-to-day activities, you can take either posture or whatever the thing purposely you are doing, you note it in order to keep the face-to-face with the object.
Mother, I have a question. My practice last night was very nice, and I was able to sit and have hands crossed when looking. I tried your method of thinking of sitting and scanning my body and just focus back on sitting. But I kept going back to my breath, not consciously thinking of it. And my breath would always go to my tongue and my breath up here on the out breath. Is that I didn't think deliberately do that, but is that a bad thing for me to do? Stay away from that.
As far as the mind is within the body, or maybe specifically related to your posture, or related to your breath, or related to your rising and falling, that means you are mindful already. That you can be happy, the mindfulness is there. And as I understood, your question is that object not appearing in the same place throughout is changing the place. No problem. As far as you know, my mind, I am not hallucinating, I am not daydreaming, I am not fantasizing. It is something not external, it is something internal. That is something realistic thing. And consciously or unconsciously, the touching point changing from one place to other. Some people go for the breathing to the rising and falling to the breathing. Never mind, that to be patient and let the mind to run wherever it's going. You try to be aware, you try to be mindful, and don't make a point to be discouraged because now mindfulness is there. Only the thing is, it is changing, place is changing. So it is a kind of a sign, kind of a symptom to say the impermanent nature as far as the space is concerned. Impermanent nature working in the space and time both. Not in a rhythmic pattern that you expect, that time also changing and the place also can be changing. Never mind, you just patiently observe it and after a while it will fall calm and quiet, come at the normal pattern and time-wise changes are happening. So therefore you must be happy. The mind is already at home. It is back at home. Within that, it is running up and down. It is not rhythmic. Never mind. Be happy, continue it, and without making a point to be worried. By continuing, it comes to the natural point, and then you may do away with any noting. You can just let the phenomena run. You can just observe as if you are sitting at the bank of a river in a dry place and let the river to flow. So you are just observing without touching the river, without interfering in the river. Whenever you interfere, you get wet. The river gets disturbed. So let the flow run. That is due to the familiarity. That is due to your long patience. So now it is now coming up to that level. Now slowly coming to the patience. One day the river will flow. You will be sitting in a dry place and observing it. Many things are happening. So that is the way you develop. You open your mind to the changing nature. Changing mode. You are ready to accommodate any change without much of a tension.
During yesterday's Dhamma talk, you talked about choiceless awareness. Can you please explain that again?
With respect to her statement, and while you are trying to keep the attention with, so to say, within the body, either you can take the bodily posture, and further, if you can manage to see a single process of in-breath and out-breath within the body posture, or then you're going to focus the single process like in the rising and falling the abdomen. Now you are more focused within the body, and while you are observing the rising and falling, for instance, the breath can happen. It can be again prominent, this may be insignificant. Or some itches, or scratching, or different thing can happen. Or listening, or thinking, fantasizing can happen. So therefore, whenever you are focusing, try to focus on the in-breath and rising and falling, and other things happen. What happens is your mind is become reactive, assuming, attention starts. Instead you say, you know this is the primary object, rising and falling, or in-breath and out-breath, but other objects are happening. And they are happening according to their own order, their own priority. It is not your conscious decision. You just observe them without discrimination. This is primary object or this is secondary object. Choicelessly be aware. But still you know this is your primary object. But other things are happening, you are not objecting. You are not reacting. Because they are natural things. So when you are observing, the only difference is, as far as you are employing this choiceless awareness, no tension, no frustration. When and where the time permits, you bring back attention to the primary object, but not all the time. You know the primary object is your oasis, your resting place, your familiar place, or your benchmark, or your reference point. But the circumstantially, other things can prominent, but you are not reacting. They are coming with their due order, their due course. When it happens, you know now I am not in the primary object, but I know where I am. I am in sound, listening. I am in thinking. I am in pain. And primary object may be available or not in the scene. And you are with it. Only thing is you make sure you are not worried. You are not tense. Choicelessly be aware. The other term they apply is evenly suspended attention. Primary object versus the other objects. So let the thing happen by its own accord. Main thing is not to worry. When and where time permits, you bring the attention to the primary object. So therefore, yogi's duty, your meditator's duty, you know. And for the moment you are not in it, but you know where the mind is running. And this acceptance, capacitization, increase the capacity of the mindfulness or diversify the mindfulness, even the object changes, mindfulness intact. No pressure due to the tension or frustration or kind of thing. Ultimately you may find, as far as the surveillance is there, as far as the diligence is there, as far as the vigilance is there, there's a kind of a control overall. But not the maximum marks you are getting because you are not all the way with the primary object. But the mindfulness is not completely destroyed. And that will be more challenged when compared to sitting in walking meditation. Because eyes are open, conscious activities are happening, wind movements and everything happen, and still you know this is my primary object. And meanwhile many things are happening. Main thing is not to worry. But they are happening, they are coming not due to your invitation. They are just gate crashers. They are just visitors. And they have their own due course, reason. You are not answerable. They are more attractive, so attention will be gone, but you know. As far as you know, that people, that awareness is choiceless awareness, or evenly suspended attention, or non-reaction, unassuming. So then, when and where you learn this art, frustration can't live in your mind. Tension can't live in your mind. So if you have to put it another way, the tension cannot live without your mind, but your mind can live without tension. The secret is choiceless awareness. It is that tension is always finding a playground to play. If you do not know choiceless awareness, they exploit you. Then you are worrying. From morning to evening you are worrying. But whenever you know choiceless awareness, you know the tension can't live without my mind, but my mind can live without tension. So main thing is not to worry. So therefore when the visitor then someone come and say, and so worried and so tensed and kind of thing, ask he or she to keep the tension here and go. They don't like. They want to take the tension back. But they don't know the choiceless awareness. It is not a meditation, it is a kind of a immunity or vaccine. You have to learn. You have to get this software from someone, listen it, and then it will not get implanted. So then next thing is you have to employ it, you have to practice in a limited situation, in a closed doors meditation hall, and apply it. And if it is working, slowly you can put it the walking meditation, little bit of complicated. And when it is go back to the day-to-day activities, the choice is my personality. Liking and disliking play here. So slowly, whenever you're ready to give up your likings and dislikings, ready to give up your choice and so much of decision making, you find the natural flow. That's called Taoism. That's called the nature. It's going to happen. It's a completely in a balance. Only thing is your decisions are withdrawn. Or your attention is there, it is evenly suspended attention. It is choiceless awareness, and be aware each and every phenomena has its own cause and effect. It is not maybe reasonable or rationalizing, but it has its beauty. So you are learning to let the thing happen and how to take a neutral observer stand and observe it. The technique is choiceless awareness. It is very difficult for disciplinarians. More than 50% of our population are disciplinarian. They don't see others' behavior whenever it is going away the track. They can't tolerate their own behavior whenever it is not according to the disciplinary rule. So therefore, choiceless awareness is more closer to the insight meditation than general meditation. These terms coined by the West, when they try to understand the mindfulness together with choiceless awareness, is more towards the vipassana, more towards the insight meditation. It's very revolutionary. It's very radical. And therefore, there won't be any improvement in vipassana unless otherwise you are a radical person. Revolutionary thinking. Otherwise, the society will come and say, stand up, sit down, like this. It is always ready to interpret terms. This is our education. This is our culture. And keep the stream of consciousness free of that. Whenever you live in the society, live according to the society. There are norms. But keep yourself as much as possible solitude. Be unto yourself. And try to let the situation to happen and be aware, vigilantly aware, diligently aware, but without the choice. And each and every time you will get rejuvenated. That is the way the children, they have no choice. Whatever happens, they accept it. So they are beautiful. We are very dutiful. Not beautiful. We are very dutiful, therefore we have hacked ourselves. We have completely missed the bus. We don't know how to let the life to run. We don't know how to let the nature to reveal. As a small way of introducing is the choiceless awareness. Your disciplinary mind, your square mind, never happy with them. That means you are not loving yourself. That means you are not your best friend. So no one can expect any loving kindness from you as far as you have a choice. Whenever you are choiceless, each and every human equal. You can have the association without preconceived ideas, but very difficult. This is called deconditioning. This is called de-educating the mind. Let the mind to be its own nature, own accord. So traditional Buddhists find it is very, very difficult. So these things are not mentioned in our traditional meditation, traditional Buddhism, and they are more towards the disciplinarian side. So therefore they become taboos, not to have a choice. It is always you must have, this is correct and this is wrong and kind of thing. But in meditation, specifically in the sitting meditation, try little and see if it is releasing the tension. I would say that is the biggest addiction in the life. And you develop choiceless awareness, you can't leave it aside because it solves so much of problem before the Nibbana. Before going into Nibbana, it solves every problem. But no two people can share thing. It's an individual pleasure. It's happening under the dimension of here now I am. You can't share with the other person. Not necessary also.
So this, if the stimulus is very strong, initially when we are studying meditation, at least small things we can manage, like your choices, awareness going, but the external stimulus is strong, if that, then the problem comes.
Then the choice will happen. Choice will be forced by the strength of the object. Then you know it. It is not you. It is not me, it is not mine, it is not myself. You know, I am succumbed to the situation. So that means the situation is not under my control. It's not governable. And the situation is 100% you are experiencing. That means you can see the beginning, the middle and the end of the situation without worrying. Because you know that your choice, your thing is to be choiceless. And it won't give a chance that you are fully aware. So choiceless awareness, then you can find a synonym, seeing the beginning and the end of, seeing the beginning, middle and the end of the object are both the same. If you wish to see a phenomena, right from the beginning to the middle to the end, you have to observe choicelessly. And if you see any phenomena, right from the beginning to the middle to the end, that means you are already choiceless. They are the two sides of the same phenomenon. For vipassana, we can express it by these two, with the help of sati, with the help of diligence, to let the phenomena take place completely by its own accord. Right from the beginning to the middle to the end, without judgmental, without judging. And your vigilance, your diligence is 100% or 200%. So the day you see one single phenomena, just like a one in-breath, one out-breath, then onward it catches momentum. We are so far, so maybe fail to see a single in-breath without a choice right from the beginning to the middle to the end. And that rhythm is the whole world. Whole universe is a holographic. If we learn one grain, you know the whole picture. To see that phenomena without preconceived ideas, without prejudgmental listing, and let it happen by its own accord, you must suppress your likings and dislikes, your personality traits. You have to be fully devoted to the observation. You are assuming, coming back to the mere neutral observer, not judgmental. Our judgmental mind is the one corrupting everything and ultimately boiling down to so much of social discrepancies, sectarianism, all the kinds of, without that, easily life, you can live in the life, and that may be the most harmonious life in the world. But the judgmental mind is jumping and making so much of fuss. So imagine if it is so, it is within one person, when it becomes two people, a group, it's utter fighting. The Buddha says one person is Brahma, two person is Deva, three persons is village, four people means a calamity, fighting. So you are very happy to live in the society. So you are self-torturing. So when you go to solitude, the social people find very fearful, uncertainty, cornered, no go. So therefore, at the cost of all the kind of thing, you become social, you will be taxing, burning the candle from the both ends. At the end of from the day, you can see from the morning to the evening, danger. Morning to the evening, standing on ceremonies. Morning to the evening, frustration. When you live in solitude, of course it is difficult to get accustomed to, but later you find you can live your life. Of course, there are some part and parcel, the social duties and kind of thing. And it is that time you abide by the social laws, norms. Another time, take yourself as much as possible solitude or peace of mind or innocence. The word is innocence. Without judgmental mind, let things happen. This is what the children, the infants, utter innocence, up to the age 6. No, they have no choice. So therefore, if you wish to learn Buddha, if you wish to see Buddha, look at child. They have the Buddha nature. We had it, very sorry. No. No more. No more. But lucky enough, children are, infants are there. They're so innocent. I think we can pass the mic.
Yeah.
That's all.
So it's been my experience, right? So the words you used about sitting by the river come to mind often for me when I get in this setting, the focus, whenever I'm able to focus more and not out in life as much. And then there are times when sort of the observer, even of sitting by the river, sort of dissipates, right? And then I can tell when the mind is kind of interjecting. It's almost like throwing pebbles in the river. We can feel that movement. And then there are times, when that movement is just allowed to be in this very euphoric, or, there's a sense of blissfulness along with it. There's byproducts of that. And it's been going for a while, right? So my question, though, is more about this volition of the mind. It keeps coming back in, and it's just, I know it's probably the mind asking about it, but it's like, continues to want to know, when is this going to stop? Yeah.
So if I got your statement correct, that you have correctly understood what to do in meditation, just the phenomena to run, you just sit and observe it. While observing, you can see the natural phenomena taking place without your forking fingers, and you can see the bliss. But still, our mind is not completely at rest because there are some tendencies or underlying tendencies. It is not, you can't disclaim it is not me, but it is not really you. They are happening. The explanation given in the Dhamma is, it is due to the past momentums, it is due to the past accumulations. So there are two kinds of things in that you have to understand. One thing is involuntary thing and voluntary thing. The other one is the present voluntary or present volitional thing, and the volitional momentums you have done in the past. So the situation what to explain is, presently, consciously, you are not doing any volitional thing and you are endowed with the bliss. But you can see past volitional momentums are come and surface, bubbling and disappearing. So it is the way you are paying off for the past. And the commentators, even though they come and play some kind of thing, they never go unbearable. Not unbearable. They are nuisance. But you have to understand, this is the way you pay off for the past volitional activities. So 2 marks you get. Presently you are not accumulating. Other thing is, you are allowing the past thing to pay off without losing your patience. So that means it is the, what you call, tapasa or meditator or patience or equanimity or unwavering mind. That moment, you are totally living, not a partial living. You are not binding with the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, nothing. Your existence is completely free of these 5 elements, 5 senses. And you are fully aware. And you have discipline up to the point, not adding any volitional weights. But you know something happening due to the past habits, tendencies, or volitional recordings. They come, you don't make any complaint. You don't go and enter into them. You never talk about them. You know how to make them insignificant. Let them go. So therefore you can understand what the kind of living you are totally aware. This is responsible part, this is I must have responsible, but I do not know, they come and surface now. And presently I am not moving my body, not talking, not adding volitional kind of thing, or full restraint. But still, there's something happening due to the past habitual thing, and in Buddhist way we call karmic forces. They are paying off, but we are happily doing it without making a point to add new seeds, new potential thing. So then you can understand you are paying the all loans, mortgage. And slowly, slowly you learn how to live. So this is the way, and when and where, and the complicated thing is there. The Buddha mentioned, when and where you learn this art, the past backlog going to be accelerated. They are going to pay off very quickly, preparing your conscious, your body-mind combination more pure very quickly. So therefore they are in an accelerated form, they are going to pay off. But never go unbearable. The technique of or efficiency there is, don't talk about it. Whenever you are going to talk, you get hooked up with another psychology and then storytelling, fabrication going on. When you become mature, really you are going through never talk. Unless otherwise to share with someone, to make an example, you can do it. But otherwise, you just let them pay off. And presently you restrain yourself under any circumstances not to add new seeds, new volitional activities, and so that you can say you are really making use of your human life. Or we can say you are living. Other time we are either engaged with ear, eye, that only we are only seers. At that time we are completely cut off from others. Whenever you hear, we can't see. But in this moment, you can check it. You are not abiding by or not connected to ear, eye, nose, tongue, body, but you are in somewhere suspending in the middle. And you get fairly a distance from see the visual objects, sounds and kind of thing. It's like you have gone away from the gravitational force of the earth. You are in the space. And the gravity you feel from the birth to now is no more. Still equilibrium is there. Like a pilot become an astronaut. There's a kind of a equilibrium over there, But being here, we can't give a training. Because we can't find a cage where there's no gravity. So only we can tell in language, only up to 6 miles, only the gravitational force. Beyond that, no gravity. Over there, we can't sit like this. We can't keep the material like this. They are floating. So likewise, slowly, the heaviness of the life, the aberration of the life, the friction of the life, slowly reducing.
It can get dragged for years, is it?
Not necessarily, unless otherwise you react to it. Unless otherwise you talk about it. Unless otherwise you go fabricating about that. Storytelling. So Buddha says, Nabhivaditi, Nabhinandati, Najosa Tittati. You never admire them, you never penetrate into them, you are not talking about them. Because they are bearable. They are bearable, so therefore it is a sign that is wearing and tearing. So backlog is wearing and tearing. You are happily observing it and make sure it is ever happening. So you know you are paying off.
So when will that stop?
The unfortunate thing is, when that is finishing, you are no more. No, you can't throw a party. Never. As far as this is there, myself is there. As far as this is there, center is there. As far as this is there, the dragging of the lion's share is there. But when that is gone, it rains. Who rains? It rains. Flowers are blooming. The grass growing. Nothing doing. They are not most balanced. Unless otherwise the bloody fool I is there. I never accept as things they are. I want to change it, adjust it. Experimenting, research, creativity, productivity. Ultimately you are producing only the tension. You are the great masters of tension makers. So when that happens, that tension also gone. And you see, still you can feel that it is non-local. No more it is localized. It's a non-local phenomenon. And no gravity. There is nothing to call me, mine, myself. But full observation is there.
Is the observation going to be continuous like that?
That is when your body finishes, that is finishes. As far as the body is there, you can have it.
But you don't accumulate new ones.
Then you are no more.
There's
no doer. So if there is someone there, only you can do attachment or detachment. But then onward, you dissolve into the nature. Just like a river flow into the ocean. It is called oceanic. Oceanic means that you are not responsible. Things are happening completely in on accord. You still have the observer status. And you know from the heavy burden of performing volitional thing, and later you stop it by discipline, and then you can see the backlog is paying. So everything happening in a chronological order. It is not an accident. Definitely it is due to your meditation. So therefore you can entertain now how it was gross earlier and let a middle later and let it become very subtle. No more. More and more you go to the normal level, less and less tension, less and less frustration. And the phenomena is non-local. You can't say this and that. Time and space, no more. So therefore you understand how your creative mind, how your crafty mind creating this tension. So innocence mind, no tension. That's why there the meditation is bringing back you to the child psychology. More you acquire, more you become creative, more you become productive, and you are creating more tension, more frustration, And you can say you are the creator. So omnipresent creator and masters of creation of nature. Not only that, you are sharing with others also. With the family members, known people. And even if you are creating, if you have no family members, business won't happen. No business. You can't sell.
You can use TM for not for trademark, for attention.
Or you can say they can't make a commodity out of it. It's a bundle. That is why we are afraid. We wanted to have everything to be converted into the commodity. We should have the market value and ready-made market. Ready-made market is your family members. How it make commodities that how do you label it and how you appreciate it. The frustration. It's international trade, it's a multinational trading. But multinationally you can't reduce it, only you reduce individually. Only single person can go through. We can't go in a community. No, never. Here we have taken 1 hour. Already we have taken 1 hour. There is no any other questions. We can take this break and go for walking meditation.